words. You're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. Much like the second wave of coronavirus, we are back and bigger than ever. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I would like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as interictal electroencephalogram and the horse votes nay, so I will try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Jock podcast, After Dark.
Okay, all right, so Cameron, he is so dedicated to making sure that our podcast stays relevant that when he heard that it was
Our
Pride Month...
podcast, After Dark. Do you want to tell our audience why our podcast is After Dark tonight, Dr. London?
Yeah, well, so we're normally record, at a normal time. It's dark in the room right now.
It's After Dark.
Sorry,
we're recording this spookily at midnight.
Yeah.
And do you want to tell our audience why we're recording at such a spooky time, Dr. London?
So this week, it was just sort of, I could only get so many availabilities. I was on call. And so this was the time that worked for me.
No.
Nope.
We're raising the dead tonight, Dr. London. You knew that.
When you say that I knew it, I feel like, did you just think it?
Well, yeah, but this whole thing is about like supernatural and like.
When you say this whole thing.
Yeah, like this whole idea that I had.
And once again.
About the After Dark. And so like telekinesis and stuff like that. So I figured.
So the idea that you had was just an idea and it was just in your head. And the theme.
Yeah. Just like 30 minutes
So whenever
ago.
you asked me to tell our listeners why, you thought that I would be able to track with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it was my fault for trusting you.
Yes.
To
Okay.
do what you're supposed to do, I guess. I don't know. Okay. But regardless, we're going to be raising the dead after dark. And the dead, of course, being your patients. The piles of dead patients. Okay. When there's flooding and rainstorms, they get lifted out of their graves because they had to stack the bodies on top of each other because there were so many.
Okay.
There wasn't enough plots at the cemetery. And that's who we're talking to tonight. We're seeing how they feel about it.
Well, also with us is Digital in the House.
Jock podcast.
After Dark.
Jock podcast. After Dark.
And later, Cameron tells me that we can expect, is it 2 special guests?
That's right, Dr. London.
Wow. Okay, well, that sounds great. Before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. I found this note tattooed onto the inside of my lower lip the other day. The note reads, quote, This is how I got hookworms after I did acid and did questionable things at Woodstock. Luckily, I found Jesus, dewormer, and soap. Take it from an ex-hippie. Mother Earth doesn't give you consent. End quote. Well,
Agreed.
first of all, I would like to thank you for reaching out to us here at the Jock Talk podcast. I don't know how you managed to get to my lip and tattoo it with such an extensive message. But I guess to answer your question, yeah.
It's not really a question. It's just more like a story, I guess.
Yeah.
Like an anecdote.
Yeah, and more a lesson, really. But yeah, I guess if you do find Jesus, dewormer, and soap, it can solve a lot of your problems.
And can you talk about the medical science behind that?
Well, soap can, break down, the lipid membrane of certain, cells, and so it's a useful tool for washing.
Wow.
Yeah, and then dewormer, that's used to get rid of the worms. They referenced hookworms, so they're
So soap is this magical thing, but it can't even get rid of worms.
well worms.
And dewormer's this magical thing, but I can't wash my hands with it like soap. You're not making any sense, Dr. London.
Yeah, well, so I mentioned that lipid layer, and that's what we're so the worms don't, to my knowledge.
Oh,
they
the
don't-
lip. This is why it was tattooed on your lips.
Yes.
Okay. Well, no, sorry to clarify. Lipid. It's a lipid bio. It means
Yeah, I'm lipid right now. We're going over this again.
I'm sorry. I think you mean you might mean livid. Anyway, thank you to that listener for reaching out to my lower lip. Now for today's medical topic, bronchiectasis.
After dark.
Bronchiectasis is an uncommon disease, most often secondary to an infectious process that results in the abnormal and permanent distortion of one or more of the conducting bronchi or airways in the lungs. So basically, a chronic respiratory condition causes the airways to become so damaged over time that their structure changes. The structure of those airways.
Dr. Lennon, can you mature this up a little bit? Part of this being like after dark, it's like kids have gone to bed, like it's only the grown-ups, it's HBO. It's mature now, like we're only dealing with the adults. You're giving us kid stuff right
Okay,
now.
because normally you say that the marketing is primarily towards children. So tonight will be the exception to that.
Yeah, because this is after dark. All the kids are good night, kids. Going to bed. And then what is everyone else doing? You're turning on the Jock Talk podcast.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure how I can make this more adult because it's just
Except that one sneaky kid. He's like, I've got my dad's iPhone, so I'm going to listen to the Jock Talk podcast, even though I'm supposed to be a kid going to bed.
yeah. Well, so I guess I'll just go forward and then maybe.
And then the dad knocks on the door. Where's my iPhone? I don't know. I haven't seen it. All right, but if you're lying to me,
So clinically,
getting kicked out.
bronchiectasis can present as cough and daily mucopurulent sputum production, difficulty breathing, also known as dyspnea, pleuritic chest pain, and that's
Glad he didn't catch me with the iPhone. Now I can finally listen to the Jock Talk podcast after dark.
and pleuritic chest pain that refers to chest pain triggered by inhaling and exhaling, breathing. These symptoms.
What the hell is this talking about? I thought this was supposed to be cool and mature.
These symptoms,
This is just kid stuff.
along with others like wheezing, fever, and a history of chronic respiratory disease, will help guide the clinician to the diagnosis. Because remember, this isn't a fairly uncommon diagnosis. Once other conditions such as pneumonia or lung abscess has been ruled out, sputum analysis may be used to further strengthen the clinical suspicion.
Can I just get 10% more spice? That's it. 10%.
And like
Just on the voice.
I'm just
Just spice it up. Just please 10%. I'll leave you. I will not interrupt the rest of the lesson if you can spice up your voice 10%.
just my voice. Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
And Okay. Oh, radiographic studies,
There it is.
specifically CT scanning, may then be used to confirm the diagnosis. Further laboratory studies may be used to treat the underlying infection.
Breathier.
Treatment approach is generally to treat the underlying respiratory disease, and in acute exacerbations,
Like you just ran a marathon.
giving IV antibiotics, bronchodilators, aggressive physiotherapy, and supplemental nutrition may also be advised.
Don't you know it, baby?
Other general recommended measures are smoking cessation and immunizations for influenza and pneumococcal pneumonia. Did that work? Do we feel like...
Yeah, our numbers are off the charts.
And you're tracking these numbers now?
Yes. Yeah. Live.
Okay.
We're up to 3.
All right. Cameron, do we have any sponsors today?
We absolutely do, Dr. London. I'm very excited about this sponsor. This is my favorite sponsor
Wow.
that we've ever had.
Oh, wow.
This is a very, very special sponsor. This is a brand new dating site. It's so new, there's only 35 people on it so far.
And that's makes it your favorite?
Yeah,
A few people?
It's that not the amount of people that makes it my favorite. It's more the concept.
Okay.
Because the concept, this is a very special episode of the Jock podcast. It's the After Dark episode.
Yeah, no, I remember you saying that earlier.
Right, because it's June, which is the time of year when you start thinking about like goblins and ghosts
I feel like that's more of an October thing. Like end of October even.
I mean, June, June you've got like the beach and there's all those ghosts on the beach and
Is that a thing? Because I feel like all the creepy, goofy, the goblin stuff, like all of that, I guess what you're referring to, like the After Dark, the spooky thing, that's all really a Halloween type of
No, I think
vibe.
it's like mostly like a beach related thing. 'Cause
Yes.
everyone's playing like volleyball and everyone's like going surfing and hanging out. And there's like all these ghosts around. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I guess explain maybe the app will, or maybe this product will help me understand.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not going to help you understand at all.
Okay, because so far,
Because if you don't get it, then you don't get it. But this app is appealing to a very specific group, and it's actually a big part of our listenership. This is a dating app specifically for mediums. It's called Medium Meetup.
okay, and to clarify, this isn't like the size of clothing they wear.
Actually don't know that
Okay,
because I haven't asked the clothing size of the people on the site.
okay,
But this is for people whose profession is a medium. People who speak to the dead. People who can access the spiritual realm
right,
and speak to people who have passed.
and
Fortune tellers, psychics.
so it seems like okay. So this is specifically for mediums to meet other mediums,
Yes.
and I guess that would be a big thing for them to have in common. Okay.
And one of the coolest things about this new dating site is, what would you guess the URL of this site would be?
Mediummeetups.com.
Nope.
Wrong.
Okay.
Try again.
Mediummeetupsapp.com.
Nope.
Medium meetups. Okay.
Dr. London, you're already wrong because it's not a URL at all.
Okay.
It's a state of mind because these are mediums, right? They can access the spiritual realm. They can speak to people on the other side, but they also can communicate without speaking.
Sure.
Just like I was doing earlier to you when I was describing the after dark concept.
Oh, and because I wasn't so I feel like you're confusing the term psychic with medium. for one thing.
So you weren't a medium.
Yeah, you also weren't a psychic. You couldn't, because a psychic, that's the classic idea where it's someone who can push, thoughts or feelings or whatever into someone else's mind. Whereas a medium is, like you said, communicating with the dead. Unless you think that one of us is dead, then that...
I can't guarantee that on either of our parts.
Okay. So anyway, these mediums communicate. They use the app.
There's no app.
Oh. They use the...
There's no website. They use their powers to communicate with each other and then say, hey, we should go to do you like Domino's or Pizza Hut? Well, I was raised with Pizza Hut, so I guess that's what I prefer. But, it doesn't bother me as long as it's not Papa John's. And he's like, well, actually, I like Papa John's. I would say that's maybe my favorite.
Why do they need medium meetup at all? It sounds like this is just how they communicate anyway.
Basically, what it does is you pay for the service, and it gives you a secret code. So then, in their spiritual world or wherever, you're hearing all these different voices. They're able to just zone in on the secret code.
Okay.
That's someone else using the site, and it's not a site.
Nope.
So is there one person who's just one medium who is creating this code and pushing that thought out there, or is there a dead person doing? That's what I'm.
To get the code, you do have to download an app.
Okay, so there's one part that's an actual physical thing.
When it's like a series of apps.
Okay.
Because you have to download the Medium store first, the Medium Play Store. That allows you to access all the apps in the store. And then from there, you've got to download the Medium Meetup code-generating app.
And then you just use that app.
Yeah, so it's really just two.
Okay. Well, it sounds...
And then it generates a code, and then you just think about that code really hard. And then other people start popping up on your little grid or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, well, admittedly, I wouldn't claim to be a medium, so I can't really speak to how this technology would affect a medium. So with that in mind, I guess we can just be thankful that they chose to sponsor through us, because I guess maybe some of our listeners are mediums, and this is a great way to reach them.
I have to think a huge part of our listenership is mediums.
Yeah, primarily children.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's...
Right? Sixth Sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that he seemed like more of an exception, maybe, but maybe that's just normal. Yeah, once again, I don't know enough about this to speak to it. Okay.
Yeah, no one was questioning that,
okay.
Dr. London.
All right, well, I guess...
People might not believe in ghosts, but they at least believe in your incompetence.
Okay, well, okay, anything else on the ad copy for medium meetups?
It says to not look up the CEO. It says don't Google him.
Okay. So to our listeners...
And his name has been blacked out, so I can't. But it says, don't look into the company. Don't investigate it too much. Don't think about it too hard. Just download the apps. That says that in huge letters.
Okay. So that's an all cap. Okay. Well, to our listeners, please, follow that. It sounds like you wouldn't need to look it up to... If you're a medium, I'm sure you're already maybe tertiary, have some awareness of this app. So, thank you to our sponsor. All right, Cameron, you said that we have two guests today. Is that right?
That is right, Dr. London. 2. 1. 2.
Okay.
2. 1.
Are you counting down?
That's the amount of guests.
Okay.
It's exciting.
It is. Okay. Well, hello there. My name is drlondonsmith.com, and this is our producer, Cameron. And who are you?
Hi, London. Good to see you. My name is Sherri Walker, and I am a colleague of London's, and I brought along my twin sister.
Hi.
Hello there.
What's your name, twin sister?
I'm Summer.
Yeah, London invited me to a party, but I guess that's just his way of finally getting me on the podcast.
Dr.
Yeah.
London, what you invited them to a party?
Well, okay, I can explain.
Okay.
So, well, for one thing, Cameron, a
Yeah.
producer here, he had told me that he had booked a guest for tonight,
Yeah.
and that the guest was maybe someone who I thought was an unsavory sort.
I told you that in confidence.
Yeah, well, then you kept describing what they had done,
Yeah.
like how you had picked him up. They were a hitchhiker, and
Sure.
you had driven with them for a while. They had convinced you to let them drive. You had started giving them
Well,
whatever you had
there was
there,
a good reason for that.
which was
Well, I was skateboarding.
you wanted to go skateboarding.
Well, I was in the back seat. The seats fold down, so there's a lot of room back there.
And you thought, let's go skateboarding.
Well, yeah, you have to because you're still
In the
in the
back seat.
car,
Yeah.
but you have to maybe bend down so your head's not hitting the ceiling.
Yeah. So anyway,
the
this,
roof,
this
the
hitchhiker-
ceiling of the car.
Yeah, but this hitchhiker convinced you to switch seats so that you could go skateboarding in the back, because you hadn't talked about this before, about all the room you had back there. I feel like he talked you into this idea.
Yeah, I've never thought about it before. I didn't even own a skateboard.
Oh, so you guys had to... Anyway, so there's this... Man, long story short, you don't have a car anymore.
Yeah.
And
Well, but I have two skateboards.
yeah.
So I think
Anyway.
one car for two, one vehicle for two vehicles.
And so you kept insisting that he's good for it, and he'll be on the podcast tonight to prove everything is
Yep.
normal and fine. But it just didn't seem like someone that I would want to provide medical education, which is what this podcast is about.
Yep.
So that's why we brought in these guests.
Sure, but why did you? Okay.
And so the reason
Why'd you lie and say it was a party? You said you've talked for 35 minutes now, and you didn't explain. You didn't answer the question at all.
So whenever my colleague, Dr. Sherri Walker, said that she didn't have anything to do tonight, I said, and let me see how I worded this, because it may have been slightly deceptive in the wording, but it was something to the effect of, like she said, I don't have any parties to go to. And I said something like, oh, you know what's a party? Whatever, the kind of stuff I do on this particular day of the week. And no, it wasn't like that. But I was just
Well,
saying.
she
like,
brought me because I'm the life of the party usually.
Okay.
She said this party is going to need more life than anyone could ever give, and
So even before you guys knew that there was no party, you went in assuming it was going to be a terrible party. Like you knew it was going to be dead before you even left the house.
well,
I get it. I would if this was the guy who was inviting me to a party, I would feel the exact same way.
London is actually a very fun person. He takes his job seriously, but
That's the least fun thing I can imagine.
Yes, but I mean, he's, a fun person. I mean, I don't know you, but I know London is a fun person.
Nope. But he tricked you into a party that doesn't exist.
So London has been inviting me on this podcast for a long time, and I continually tell him no. And so finally he said, well, let's just hang out, come over tonight. We'll have fun, whatever. And so I thought, oh.
So what makes Dr. London fun is that he tricked you into doing something that you don't want to do. Yes.
Well, now I'm not sure if I think he's fun anymore. I'm with you, Cameron.
Okay, well,
it was so easy to win them over.
yeah. Well, the circumstances aren't really my favor now. But anyway, we could still talk a little bit, and we can.
I don't like these chips.
Yeah, I'm so
you
sorry.
brought those chips.
Yes.
There's no chips in the studio.
Well, they're stale.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, if you dug them out.
Again.
Oh, these are the other ones I brought.
Yeah, they're all. Any chip you find in here besides maybe a computer chip is going to be something you brought in.
And even the computer chip is a maybe.
What makes you the life of the party? You said you're the life of the party. You're brought in to fix party emergencies. What does that mean? What do you do?
I've got a bubbly personality, and I'm always seeing the bright side of things, and I always can just turn things around. Like, my sister gets really upset every day, and like I have to pull her out of her sadness, but I just do it by just telling her, like, be happy.
And does that work?
Well, I do get down a lot because my job is, mentally taxing. However, my sister brings me up when I'm down.
What's your job?
I'm a psychologist.
Well, it's nice to hear. So this is something that we don't always.
She said she was a psychologist?
No, okay, and sorry for Cameron, who's not familiar with the terminology. Psychologist. So
because I've always figured that these logists, these people who they cut down these trees and they turn them into logs, like you'd have to be psycho to do that. It's Mother Nature. Yeah,
well, and so in this case, I think psychologist is actually a reference to the study of the mind. So
the mind of the type of psycho who would do something like that, cut down a tree, turn it into a log.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But I have Barks root beer. I don't like A&W.
Again, there's no root beer in this studio at all before you guys showed up. If there's A&W root beer, you would have had to have brought it.
It just doesn't. Barks is so it's got a little bit of a bite, whereas A&W is too smooth. That's why I just can't.
No, I feel you.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to interrupt, and that that discourse I'm sure is important to you at the moment. But I want to get back to something that Sherri was saying about how she finds relief from the stress of her work, and just because clinicians often will become very stressed, and sometimes it is hard to find a way to take a break. And for our listeners, this could be really important for the clinicians who listen, to learn how to de-stress. And so you say that, Sherri, you say that Summer here, your twin sister, helps you to de-stress?
Yeah, she really, she's just a hippity-hop happy person, as we always say. So talking to her really helps me just sort of remember what's important and who I care about.
People say that just being around me is like inhaling rainbows and unicorns, and just my natural passion and the joy that I ooze just kind of infects people. But I am wondering, where's the bathroom?
Well, okay, and so it's out of the studio one is out of order at the moment. But if you just go outside and then you hang a right and you walk for a few blocks.
Oh, it's not a right anymore.
Oh, they
turned
that.
the right into a left.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a 7-Eleven there. So now you're gonna have to, I guess, pull a U-turn. You're gonna walk around, and there's, well, at this hour. Okay, and I would say behind the dumpster, but that also has moved.
Well, it's moved vertically, like it's higher in the sky.
Yeah.
Off the ground.
So that.
It's in the same position.
Yeah, so it's just like
on Earth.
You're kind of
The longitude and latitude position of the dumpster is the same.
Yeah,
it's just 6 feet off the ground.
Topographical map, you're gonna have issues. So there you're gonna just have to kind of count your risks. What?
It passed.
Oh, nice.
Like into your clothing?
Threw me, onto your chairs.
Oh.
These are really absorbent chairs, so.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear like you guys interact with each other. Like you're talking to us, but you're talking about how important you are to each other. I mean, it sounds like Summer, you really cheer up Sherri. Sherri, you sort of a rock for Summer.
Because sometimes I know I can get stressed even in my normal conversations with people. Like I can, if you don't talk about things correctly, then maybe it'll make stress worse. So how do you guys, interact?
Sometimes I'll just look at her. I'll see, she's spiraling. She's in a mental loop, and I'll just say, I'll just tell her a little joke like that.
Say what, Dr. London? What was that?
Well, it sounded like she said, like maybe she said some little silly, goofy kind of, whatever nonsense.
Yeah, you just make like a funny noise. Is that what you're doing?
I told her a joke.
Well, it's not really a joke, right? Like you just went like blah 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 or whatever.
But that's kind of a joke, yeah.
No, she said.
Yeah, see, this thing is what's concerning me. What's happening here? What's going on?
Didn't you ask to see us interact to figure out how we kind of cheer each other up and build each other up?
But you cheer each other up through just these like nonsense noises?
Sounds?
Maybe to an untrained ear it sounds like nonsense, but when you have...
Oh.
When you've been speaking this way for, 25 years...
It's natural.
It's like English.
Oh, so this is like a language between you two.
It's a language that all identical twins know.
Yeah.
It's a language specifically just for people who are identical twins.
So it's not exclusive to you two as being twins. It's any identical twins will have the same language.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So like if I brought in like one of the Sprouse twins, they would think that joke was just as funny.
Oh yeah.
Well, unless they have a poor sense of humor, I would think.
Yeah, I guess it's true. They could just be unfunny guys.
Also, Chinese twins don't speak the same language.
Yeah. Their language sounds a little bit different, but
it's hard to understand. They're Duralects.
Yeah.
Different Duralects.
So what, I mean, is there any like translation we can get to maybe understand that joke?
Yeah. What was that joke?
A little better?
Does it translate to English or?
no.
We can't say it to you guys because...
It's identical twin joke only.
Was it about us?
No, of course not.
No, we're having such a great fun time at this party.
Nope. Okay, I really have to stress again, this isn't a party. You guys brought all the chips, all the drinks.
I do not like any of these chips,
Well,
and
on
I
the
don't
disco
like any
ball,
of these
It
drinks.
was not making fun of you guys at all. Like,
No, it wasn't talking
Definitely.
about your noses and...
Oh, I wasn't talking about
No.
my
Yeah,
Oh gosh, what
yeah.
a relief. Okay. Whew, I was so worried someone was going to talk about my little nose.
oh, little nose. No, it wasn't about that.
It wasn't about your little nose.
Okay, well, it's not about my little nose, so then I'm
Okay.
good.
It's
Okay.
Not
not...
about your giant lips either.
It's okay. I mean, as long as it's not about my giant lips, then I'm good. I'm happy. These are all good things.
And it's not about your urine-soaked couches in your studio.
And
I
to
was
that
worried
point,
about that one.
I'm feeling like, of course it isn't, because you didn't say that much. You each said a little phrase. It sounded like, so. I mean, most, at least the languages I'm familiar with, they take more. It takes more time to say that much, to convey that much meaning, more words.
Well, small minds.
Okay, but I still don't understand why they're on the podcast.
Okay, so this is going back to the how do people who are in high stress environments, how do they de-stress, and how do they, find their way to get back to helping people every day? After you go home from the clinic or from work, wherever, how do you get back on your feet and, be ready to stay mentally healthy, emotionally ready
And the answer to that is have a twin.
with a specific twin language is,
I also do acupuncture.
It's not a specific twin language. It's the twin language.
The universal twin language.
Except for outside of certain parts of Asia.
Yeah, Chinese dialect.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so is that, in your opinion, is that the entire way to de-stress? Is that everything that does the trick for
No,
you?
I also do acupuncture.
Okay.
Just like classic acupuncture, just got little needles, you poke them in the back.
We don't use needles. We use birthday candles.
Well, that, and forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but that doesn't sound like it meets the definition of acupuncture. Do you sharpen the candles and then poke them in?
No, we just stick the candles in like you would a needle.
Okay, well, you say in like you would a needle, but needles have a sharpened edge, and so they can be inserted, whereas wax candles cannot. Like, they have a blunt edge, and it wouldn't be able to go in like that.
Ever hear of ears, nose, throat doctors?
Yes.
Yeah, ENTs.
Yeah, candles fit in there.
We fit about 16 birthday candles in our nostrils.
Wow.
Oh, so you're saying just in open orifice? Okay, because I should clarify. So acupuncture, they'll put those needles in your skin directly, not into.
Well, that's the acupuncture you're familiar with, sure.
It does sound like that is coming from a non-twin. We do have to accept that this is a world we're not familiar with, Dr. London, unless you have a twin running around.
Not to my knowledge. I guess what I thought
Because
was
mine
that,
cannot run at all.
so you have a twin, Cameron.
Well, I had a twin.
Did you? Okay, so this brings up a question.
Yeah.
So you couldn't understand their language earlier.
No.
Is this because your twin died, making you the only?
My twin died in utero. And I
Okay.
absorbed it. That's why I have a fourth knee instead of the normal 3 like most people.
Right. Okay, well, Sherri, Summer, do you have an explanation for how Cameron, despite having had a twin that
In the womb.
that passed away in utero,
He's an idiot.
My twin was not an idiot.
Nope.
He provided me with my fourth knee.
what kind of an idiot would do that? Okay, so you're saying that maybe Cameron is exaggerating some of his past.
I don't know, but I have known Cameron for, 20 minutes now? And I know he is an idiot.
Yes.
And I've known Cameron for 25 years now. And I know he's an idiot because we meet at Idiots Anonymous.
That's supposed to be anonymous.
Well,
By the way.
There's so many people there at this point. It's like, if everyone is there, how are we all anonymous,
My sponsor is going to be so pissed.
So,
I'm your sponsor.
Yeah, and you're going to grill me later.
wait. I'm sorry. So, Summer and Cameron,
Yeah.
well, especially, I guess, Cameron, you've been going to a support group for
IA.
for idiots.
I've got my 12-year chip. Which Summer mentioned that we've known each other for 25 years. That's because 13 years in, I had a relapse.
Are you sure you're not having a relapse today?
I don't think so. My sponsor would tell me.
I think you're okay.
When you say relapse and when you say Idiots Anonymous, I just want to clarify. So you go in there and you become.
This is all supposed to remain confidential and anonymous. I feel like it's unethical for you to even try to get more information about
Maybe
this.
we'll talk more hypothetically about it instead of you personally, because
Okay.
I am curious about this. Because let's say for me, if I understand correctly, I become aware of the fact that I'm an idiot.
Which you need to start taking a look in the mirror.
And
That's all I'm
so-
saying.
So
Yes.
if I were to come to that realization.
Which you wouldn't. You lack the self-awareness.
Right.
So I would go to the support group, IA, because I know you'll go on, Friday, Saturday nights, and like also at various odd hours of the day to the support. Like I've seen you go somewhere.
Yeah.
And you won't say where. You're saying like, oh, I have to meet up with so and so, and so this is how it
most
works.
of the time I don't remember where I'm going, and I don't remember where I just was.
I guess that does answer a lot of the follow-up questions. Okay, so I guess I'm just aware now of a support group that maybe has a 10-step program. Does it have a 10-step program?
It's way more steps than that. Way more steps than that.
And are you saying that because you've been through all the steps?
I'm not sure
Or
there.
because you just have trouble counting them?
Well, that's a whole other issue. I know that I'm somewhere in the mid 300s, and I don't know where the end point is.
Okay.
The end point isn't it just not being an idiot?
This is like
12 years.
this is the treasure chest at the end of the rainbow. Like
Yeah,
I don't.
that's kind of what dreams are made
We're
of.
chasing after. I don't know what that is or what that goal is or what it is, but
Or if we'll ever arrive
That's,
at that goal. I mean,
that's what keeps us chasing.
I'm sorry we went on that tangent. It's just this is a whole organization I didn't know about. But okay, so I guess our takeaway today, maybe, if we feel like sort of winding things up, is the way that you de-stress is spending time with a family member who speaks in a way that's very personal to you. Would that be a way that we could make this more broad and general for our listeners?
Yeah, and I have a cat and I drink.
yeah, drinking is a big key.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we start speaking that language, it's over a couple drinks. It's, we drink all the time after work, every day.
Okay, so when you were asking for like Pepsi, you're looking for a mixer.
I'm just looking for anything that will cheer us up,
Got it.
Okay.
Any kind of beer, really.
Yeah. Doesn't have to just be root.
Okay, so you're saying that maybe the what you were presenting initially was just your strong relationship. Really, it sounds
With
like
alcohol.
your coping mechanism is just alcoholism.
Well, no.
we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't say alcohol is no. We wouldn't. No.
For which I would say there is. I don't know if you've heard of Alcoholics Anonymous.
And I think there's a rule about not being in. I think you have to choose which anonymous group you're in. So I think if you're in one, if you're in IA, you can't be in AA.
Yeah, and IA has the sickest guitar riffs when we're coming in. It's like there's all these people on stage and there's fog machines.
Well, it's open bar.
Exactly. And it's like people are just going crazy on their guitars and it's just cool. It's a fun time. Like I would never want to leave IA.
I'm just saying that I'm not an idiot and I'm not an alcoholic. But I am a doctor.
Okay. Well, it's we all have to try to look at ourselves and try to find a balance in life. Sometimes we can give in to these things that provide temporary relief, but it's important to bear in mind that those things can become excessive and harmful to us if we don't find the right balance. So as long as we're all trying to follow balance.
And I tell the same thing to all of my patients, London, and that is great advice. Thanks.
And Dr. Lennon, it just kind of sounds like you're being judgmental about the like fun drinking stuff and stuff like that. When I know for a fact you take drugs every single day in the form of a cup of coffee. Isn't that right, Dr. London?
Yeah, I mean,
Is that
technically,
not?
It is. Yeah, coffee is technically a drug.
Oh,
There's caffeine.
The words of an addict, Dr. London.
Sounds like you need to go to CA. Coffee Anonymous.
California.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and those are great advice. I don't think I'm abusing it so much as meeting what I guess
Do you have it every day?
it's a societal norm.
Not only does he have it every day, but if he hasn't had it, he'll say, "Whew, don't talk to me till I've had my coffee."
That's addict speak.
Okay, well that is in part because
Or if he's a little tired that day, or maybe a little like not all there, he'd be like, sorry, I haven't had my coffee yet.
That's addict speak.
well
Sorry to tell you.
on the former one, when I say don't talk to me till I've had my coffee, Cameron is usually actively getting in my way to reach it and like yelling in my face.
Yeah, he's trying to stop you from your addiction. Have you never seen someone really passionately trying to save your life?
Like when my sister Summer used to probably have to say, Cameron, please don't be an idiot today.
I'm used to. Still do.
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess that's a good way to end things here. I feel like we've learned a lot about each other. I'm sorry, I've learned a lot about you guys. I guess I haven't told too much of my own things.
Well, we work together, London, but it's nice to come to your party.
Yeah, and thank you once again for coming.
You only have laser discs? Don't you have Blu-ray or...
No. Those are mine.
But in any case, thank you to Sherri Walker for being on the show today, for coming to my party.
My pleasure, London, anytime.
Whoa.
Yeah, thank you for Dr. London for tricking these women into being on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, the After Dark podcast.
Yeah.
That's kind of a little...
I really hope this didn't make Summer feel like an idiot. Being tricked like that.
You want to get sued?
And thank you, Summer, for being on the show as well.
Yeah, and thanks for not really supplying any good snacks or good drinks or... I'm sitting on a urine-soaked couch. Thanks for this party. Thanks.
Well, yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Needed to get out of the house.
All right. Thank you to Cameron, our producer.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Don the house.
I am wondering, where's the bathroom?
Where's the bathroom?
Jock Dog Podcast.
After dark.
Jock Dog Podcast.
After dark.
And my name is drlondonsmith.com. This has been the Jock Doc Podcast.
See ya.
You feel a creeping sensation as it inches closer, and a shiver snakes its way up your spine. You avoid an intake of breath because of the assurance that if you did inhale, the rotting corpses of lesser monsters that had last been trapped in the gaping maws of this brutish creature would then travel up your nose and into your mind, your soul. It sniffs closer and licks your nose, and then begins to purr. After another pause, you decide to let your guard down just a little bit in order to pet the kitten. The purring intensifies, your pupils dilate, and you get wrecked by the cruel euphoria brought about by this creature most foul. Speaking of euphoric experiences, don't forget to leave a 5-star review of the Jock Doc podcast in which you describe your interactions with cursed creatures of darkness. And while you're at it, go ahead and share the Jock Doc podcast with a friend or foe. You can send them a link to your favorite episode or just send them our handy website, jockdocpodcast.com. And don't forget to take a peek at our posts on social media. We are at Jock Doc Podcast. Thanks for listening.